This week, I want to spend it talking about the Browns' position rooms. And we're going to start with the most polarizing position on the team, the quarterback position. Part of the polarization of this position is because we have absolutely no idea who's going to be the starter, which is less than ideal at the quarterback position. It's funny. I just talked about that in the video. So let's get into it, right? We don't know what the depth chart's going to be, so the order that I say this in is just going to be by experience and then draft pick. So it's not really a depth chart that I'm giving out. I'm only saying that because some people are going to get sensitive about me bringing up players at a certain place. I'm just trying to talk about football. Joe Flacco is the first name we're going to go over on this list. I talked about this before. Joe Flacco is Joe de facto, right? He is the bar in which all of these quarterbacks will be measured against. And if you're better than Joe Flacco, then you can start. If you're not better than Joe Flacco, then you will not play. Like, I think that is the purpose that Joe Flacco serves. If nobody is better than Joe Flacco, then Joe Flacco plays. The reason that's going to be the case is, one, Joe Flacco's not going to practice that much. And two, Joe Flacco, for at least the beginning of the season, is seen as good enough for the Cleveland Browns, right? Like, you can start the season and feel fine with Joe Flacco, hoping that he gives you something close to what he gave you in 2023. I have my doubts about that, but that is a reasonable place that you can be at. That's why I think Joe's kind of in this room. He's kind of the failsafe, the emergency brake, the last case opportunity. He's the white T-shirt that you keep in your trunk just in case you get a stain on the shirt you're wearing, right? He's that jean jacket that you always got in the passenger seat. He is the safety option, right? Which is, hey, if it all goes down, if something unexpected happens, we're going to play Joe Flacco and we're going to be fine with it. So that's why I think Joe serves. At this point in Joe's career, I don't think he's going to give you a full season. I think he's going to throw interceptions, and those interceptions, the older he gets, are more likely to be turned into pick sixes. That's what always rises with older quarterbacks, right? Is pick sixes, unless your name's Tom Brady. And even Tom threw pick sixes in his later part of his career, more so than he did in his prime, obviously. But yeah, the age thing, it does matter for Joe. I can't rock with acting like it doesn't. I mean, even if you could get 28-year-old Joe Flacco in the building, there would still be things you would want to improve him at. So it's not like Joe Flacco is like Tom Brady at 42, right? Like, he was a flawed quarterback in his prime. He still has flaws to this day, but he is just a better version of that than what you can usually get out there on the free market. So Joe Flacco, Joe de facto. If nobody takes the job, Joe Flacco gets the job, right? That's kind of how I think about this whole room. And that's better than where the Browns were last year, where it was kind of just all on Deshaun Watson, and he played the worst, second worst in success rate in the NFL. I don't think Joe Flacco's floor is that low. Then you got Kenny Pickett. I'm going to be honest here. A lot of people believe that Kenny Pickett is another guy with a low floor and a low ceiling. I don't know if I believe in that low floor for Kenny Pickett, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I think we're kind of assuming a low floor for Kenny Pickett because he didn't look terrible in Pittsburgh at times, but I think he can look much, much worse than he did in Pittsburgh. And I think, I'm not a big believer he's going to look much, much better than he did in Pittsburgh outside of Cleveland. That being said, I think Kenny Pickett is the quarterback that the Cleveland Browns want to start, or at least Kevin Stefanski wants to start, given that he's young enough to where you could believe he could be a starter, but experienced enough to where, well, let me run that back. He's young enough to where you can expect him to get through 17 games, but also experienced enough to where you can reasonably trust him out there. And for a Kevin Stefanski offense that all signs point to, it relies on a lot of trust at that quarterback position, that's going to matter, right? That's part of the reason why I think they were more comfortable with taking Dylan Gabriel than Shador. Whether that's perception or reality, I think that has something to do with it, right? And we'll get to that in just a second. But there's a lot of trust that goes into it. I think they'll be very hesitant to play a rookie quarterback, even if it's Dillon Gabriel. And I think they would prefer that it be Kenny Pickett if we're looking at this from the Browns coaching staff perspective. Remember, the coaching staff does not want to switch out the quarterback 4 or 5 times. The coaching staff wants to have one quarterback for 17 games. They understand it's not realistic with Joe Flacco. These rookies are rookies. Kenny Pickett is in the Goldilocks zone for Kevin Stefanski for at least this year. So that's what I think they want to have happen. But I don't know if they're convinced that it's going to happen, hence why Joe Flacco is here, hence why Shador Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are here. So that's another thing that you have to add into the room. And then you have Dillon Gabriel, who is a bet on college experience. I think the reason they like Dillon is he's experienced. Every coach that's ever had him speaks glowingly of Dillon Gabriel on and off the field. He seems to be somebody who has mastered the art of, figuring out the whiteboard and everything else like that, and playbook recognition and memory recall and all of that. They seem to be really impressed with Dillon mentally. And I'll give Dillon this, right? Every year he played college football, he had a above average season. He had a top tier college football quarterback season every single year of his college career, which is significant because, this guy's college career started with Josh Heupel at UCF. And it seems like Josh Heupel has been a head coach at Tennessee for a while. Gabe Davis, there's images of him throwing touchdowns to Gabe Davis, whose NFL career seems like it's had so many years on top of it, right? We're at the end of Gabe Davis's NFL career at this point, it feels like. And that's how long Dillon's been playing college football. And he's been good at it every year. One of the better quarterbacks in college football every year. There's no doubt that Dillon can execute and perform in college football, and he can perform what the coach is asking him to do and perform the system. There's no doubt about that. The doubt with Dillon Gabriel is about his physical measurements and how that translates to the NFL game. Now, as much as you will hear people in the comments section talk about it doesn't matter that he's short, it doesn't matter that he's small, it doesn't matter that he doesn't have this arm, or maybe they're telling themselves he does have a crazy arm or does have this. That shit matters in the NFL. This is a physical game. Your size matters in the NFL. It has mattered for every player in the NFL. Now, if you want to be a 5'11 quarterback, but you move like Michael Vick, you move like Kyler Murray, okay, there's not really a problem there. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to this if I thought that Dillon Gabriel was a supreme athlete at the position, because, okay, you got the slipperiness to give you an edge. He doesn't have that kind of athletic ability. Don't get me wrong. Dillon Gabriel's not a bad athlete, but he's like the same level of athlete as like Kenny Pickett, probably a little bit worse than Kenny Pickett was coming out of Pitt. That's not good enough to get away with being 5'11", in my opinion, right? If he figures it out and he is the rare exception to the rule, then I think he can be good, because everything else that he needs to play quarterback, he has demonstrated he can do well. It's just he has the most unclearable hurdle to clear, which is that height. Being that small and not as athletic, that's an incredible hurdle to clear. I mean, look at how much struggle Bryce Young has had in his early NFL career. And Bryce Young was one of the best college quarterbacks we've ever seen. Dillon's not one of the best college quarterbacks we've ever seen. He's pretty good, but he's not up there. He's not even that conversation. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Dillon. I can understand if you watch the tape and you're not really thinking about any of those physical translations to the NFL, you can think that there's going to be a good player there. The big question with Dillon is, like, are you going to be able to get to a place where the fact that you're 5'11", almost 5'11" flat, are you going to be able to maneuver that well enough so it doesn't matter as much? Then you have Shador Sanders. Now, I think Shador is going to be tagged as the project quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, right? The guy that they're working on. This means I don't think he's going to start week one. This means, he might not even get first team reps in camp this year, right? Like maybe he gets them in practice if he needs them, but I don't know if he gets a ton of first team reps. I think they look at Shador as a project, right? A work in progress. They see some stuff about him that they like, the accuracy, the ability to, and the willingness and the confidence to attack downfield, but they see a lot that they want to be able to clean up with Shador. And that means that they're probably going to be more hesitant about him seeing the football field than they would with Dylan Gabriel, who I think they are convinced because of his college experience is less of a project. Now, I want to make this clear. I don't know if that's the most wise decision, but that seems to be the way that the Browns are operating. I know that people get mad when I point that out, but you're just getting mad at what the reality looks to be from how the Browns are viewing this. Like, you can be over the moon with Shador Sanders because you saw a couple of clips in training camp. That does not mean that the coaching staff is right along with you in that delusion. Nobody's there yet with Shador, right? There's a lot of people who want him to get first team reps, want to rush this thing along. I just don't think the Browns are there. I think the Browns are going to want to give this time, and I think that's ultimately the right move here. So if we look at this quarterback class, or not quarterback class, quarterback room, you have a de facto, you have a hopeful, and then you have two possibles. Is this a good quarterback room? No. A good quarterback room has a good quarterback. We don't know if that exists yet on this roster. At best, we don't know it exists. So no, can't say this is a good quarterback room. Is this fine? Yes. This is fine, right? And I mean fine when I add the pause, at the curling of the mouth, and then fine. It's fine. It's fine, y'all. Like, I'm not mad at it. I'm not backflipping thinking that we got the best thing on earth. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But as far as starting the season with this quarterback room, it's fine. So the grade I'll give this position group for the Cleveland Browns, we'll give it a flat C. No. C-. We'll give it C-. Because, again, average would mean we know who the starter is. We don't know who the starter is. So I can't give you a quarterback room that doesn't have a definitive starter and say, that's a C+ room or an average room. This is a below average room. But if you're going to be below average, I don't mind how the Cleveland Browns are going to approach it, right? If you're going to be a room that doesn't know the starter week one, which is where the Browns are, unfortunately, then I don't mind this approach of having multiple rookie quarterbacks and having some guys that you're taking a flyer on, and then also pairing that up with the Joe Flacco. So I give this room a C-, which not terrible. Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.